Princess Rissa back, and when we last left off, we were at the halfway point of the big bridge. And look who's here, our new friend Gilgamesh. Ha ha ha, I guess we've been waiting for you. Took you long enough, too. I was getting worried you might have gotten lost. Anyway, it's go time. This battle is actually a legitimate battle with Gilgamesh. It's not like you have to do just a little bit of hit points. I'm actually gonna have to hit him down. And one thing is, when he loses about 3,500 hit points, gets down to a little less than half his hit points, he kind of goes berserk. He casts a whole bunch of buffs on himself and gets much, much stronger. Luckily, he is susceptible to the to slow, so we're going to slow him up. And you can also blind him with a Chemist mixture. We don't have that ability yet. Or a black magic spell. Or a white magic spell, I mean. You can also use the mute spell, but the problem with the mute spell is it mutes everybody. So what we're going to do is, instead of... you can mute him, and that prevents him from casting a lot of his buffs on himself. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to give Whiskers, we're going to give him the mute knife, the Mage Master knife, and that can inflict mute. So hopefully, and we got lucky, it procced. See that little X and that Japanese symbol, I think, pop up? That means that the mute is stuck. So now when Gilgamesh tries to cast his buffs on himself, you'll notice that they will not work at all. I suppose I misjudged. So he tries to cast haste on himself, shell and protect on himself, and yeah, he just can't use any of his buffs. So it makes it much, much easier. Otherwise, basically all your damage, both magical and physical, are going to be cut in half. And he'll be acting twice as often as normal because he'd be hasted. But we slowed him, so the haste didn't work, and the haste didn't work anyway. So he's basically acting at like half his speed. So we've slowed him by like basically a factor of 4 because he wasn't hasted and he's slowed. So we can just break like 3 rods on him and then hit him with a few more attacks, and he will flee. And we will run into him much, much later in the game and several more times. Now we still have, we're going to make sure that we're going to go up the center here because we want to get the last rare enemy here. And a lot of these enemies here can only be encountered right here on the big bridge. The Meros, the flying killers, the little chariots, and this enemy right here in the back, the Neo-Garula. So he's nothing really particular, nothing special about him. So, unfortunately, he can absorb lightning. So when we cast the bolt 2 to get rid of those 2 Meros, he's going to get some hit points back. But because we didn't hit him at all, it doesn't matter that we healed him because he was already at max hit points. We just released those shell bear. I was mainly holding that for the Gilgamesh fight, but I didn't need it. I just broke an extra rod because there could be other monsters that we can catch later on. So, Krill, there she is. Grandpa, the barrier, look out! Uh-oh, run! And here's just the game's convenient way to get us halfway across the world, pretty much, to help us explore more of this world. So, yeah, very unrealistic what happens here, and you'll see here coming up for several reasons. Grandpa! And we are literally kind of flung almost halfway across the world. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. There'll be quite a few crazy things I'll be pointing out in about a minute, minions. But first, we're going to get land on this platform here, this plateau, I guess. Any idea where this is? Yeah, this has got to be Gloxina, the back of beyond. Crawling with monsters too. Figures would be thrown someplace like this. Yeah, I don't know how they survived this, minions, and you'll see in a second. Galif, sorry about all this. I mean, we came to help you, but you ended up helping us. Just like with Siren. As usual, I meant it, you know. You really didn't have to come. Meddlesome bums, the lot of you. Oh, he didn't want us here. Still, it's good to see you again. Oh, he's just playing like tough to get. Or something like that. So surprisingly, even though we are new to this world, well, maybe Galif had it, but we also have a map of the world. And with that flashing X there, and I'm going to point out right there in this little text, where the big bridge is. Yeah, we got thrown that far away. Yeah. Crazy. But, well, we were told there's going to be a whole bunch of monsters here, and, well, there's a bunch of new monsters. So the back one in there is the stats are currently up for that right now. It's, weak against fire. Surprisingly, those devourers in the front, even though they're like octopus or squids, they're not weak to lightning. As you saw, they absorb lightning. The devourer, though, I mean, the, Mandrake in the back, he is weak to fire because he's kind of like a tree monster. So you just hit him with that. These guys, no elemental weaknesses to devour. So just hit him with whatever magic spell you want to hit him with. Whatever one of your level 2 magic spells you want to hit. These are also a decent enemy to catch. Like the sand bear and the shell bear. When released, they do a strong attack. So, yeah, if you have a bunch of mediators in your party, or beastmasters, in some translations they're called mediators. If you have a bunch of them, you want to capture some monsters, hey, go for it. Catch away. Like Pokemon, gotta catch them all. Me and my daddy never played any Pokemon games. My daddy's one friend, she used to play the Pokemon Go though. And here we have another new enemy, the Tunneler, the guy in the back. Nothing particular about them either. Nothing really special, just, kind of generic. No weaknesses, so once again, just use whatever level 2 elemental spell you would like to take them out. Just not your Bolt 2 unless they're by themselves. If we use the Bolt 2 here, obviously we'd heal that Devourer up there, and we don't want to do that. So, yeah, and it must be a squid because it has 10 arms. If you're an octopus, you only have 8 arms. That's why they're called Octo. And I just helped you much later in a future Let's Play. I'm going to play Final Fantasy Legend 2, and the one guy asked a question. He's like, a squid and an octopus, how many arms do they have total? And, yeah, you don't, if you add them up, you have to get 18. So now you know, because squids have 10 and the octopus have 18. So you'll be able to solve that riddle, and then be really, really smart. And go on Jeopardy and win lots of money, and then you can give it to me, and I can buy a bunch of yogis. And we can meet new enemies here. First one is the Fairy Orc. He's that floating pig with wings in the upper right there. Nothing really special about him. He can absorb holy, but we don't have any holy spells right now. So, yep. None of these monsters here, elemental weaknesses, so as always, just go after them with whatever level 2 elemental spell you might have that's being boosted by an elemental rod. So like I said, for Fire Rod, just use your fire spells, because that'll do the most damage. If you have a Ice Rod, use the Ice. Lightning Rod, use your Bolt 2 spell, so. We'll just multi-target them, take them all out, and easy living. Man, we are in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around here. Forests, rocks. Hey, look, there's a little village. Hey, let's go there. After all those battles, we can use a break. Simple backward village. This is the frontier town of Regole. Have some really good magic here. We want to basically the level 4 type spells. Nothing on the white magic over there on the left, but here we can get level 4 Comet Slow 2 and Reset spell. Reset spell is pretty neat. What that does is, like, if you start a battle, and say it's going bad for you, you can cast the reset spell, and it puts you back at the beginning of the battle. Any items that you use will be reset, and you'll basically be restored back to the condition that you were when you started the battle. He runs the weapon store. Not much really here for us. for our characters. Our wizards are still going to mainly use rods. We can now get a different whip, finally, for Whiskers. It's a stronger whip. It doesn't have elemental properties, but that can be basically a blessing, because there's quite a few enemies that we've been encountering that absorb lightning. So when Whiskers hit them, they would actually be healed up. And here's an interesting thing about, like, healing in this game and damage. Say, like, Whiskers hits an enemy that absorbs lightning, and you can actually use this for yourself, but damage isn't calculated until, like, the very end. So say there's an enemy that absorbs lightning. It gets hit points back when it gets hit by lightning. So we hit it with the whip and say deal, like, X amount of damage, and that X amount of damage would be enough to kill that enemy. But then the lightning strikes afterwards, and the lightning gives it some hit points back. Well, it won't die because the hit points that it was given back heal it up. So it's basically reduced to 0 hit points, doesn't die, gets hit points back, and so it still lives. So yeah. Now there's a few more gear that we'd like to get here, but it's going to be available at our next shop location. So you don't need to necessarily wander around and try to grind for some gold out here. Well, I'll be. We haven't had a visitor in town for years. Is it true that X-Death has returned? Yep. And another interesting thing we forgot to do here real quick, but you can sneak in behind the counter here and talk with this girl. Now, where'd my ribbon get off to? And that'll be important much later in the game. She'll find her ribbon, and she'll give it to us, because we're nice people. And like I said, ribbon, probably best accessory, best headgear in the game. It basically blocks all the status ailments, but we can't use any of them because, they're exclusive to dancer classes. Better not go to the Castle of the South. I heard that X-Death has returned, but he'd never bother with an out-of-the-way podunk town like this. That big fat liar says he saw a Moogle. He's a liar, pants on fire. Uh-oh. I did too see a Moogle, really, truly. And the sheep actually has a name, Flossie. Better not get too close to that castle down south. The town's got the best brew in the whole world. You should try some. The castle to the south is the sealed castle of Kuza. We were told to stay away from there, so you know what we're going to do. We're going to go there. The weapons used in the legendary war 1,000 years ago are sealed away in there. Yeah, we're gonna go there, minions. You don't have to, though. There ain't no dancers in this tiny one-horse town. How about you get on stage? This stuff's great. It doesn't burn, it shines. Yep, if we get on the stage and select yes, we'll do a little dance. And we actually make 100 gold for doing this dance. But anyway, getting back to that sealed castle, we can go there because we actually have a way to deal with the really tough enemy inside there. But your party may not have it, depending on what class you have. But we have the Beastmaster, and they can actually take care of this enemy with the control spell. So, yeah, we're gonna go down there. We get a little bit of dialogue and plot. So, ever heard of the Konorgo gourd? It helps you catch monsters slick as a whistle. That'll be really helpful. How about some of Regole's famed brew? Such a rich and full-bodied flavor. Yeah, that gourd that guy was talking about? Normally to catch a monster, you have to reduce it to 1/8 of its hit points. Of its max hit points. With the gourd, you only have to reduce it to half its hit points. So it makes catching monsters so much easier. And here, we finally get to brush up on our piano skills again. So, there's piano 6 of 8. Sneak around here, and not much left really to do in this village, but we want to stay here at the inn because, one, we had a lot of fights. 2, it's free for the first night, and 3, we get a little cutscene here, so, yep. So remember, minions, stay at the inn. And Galuf, he gets up and he sneaks off. He's probably going out to get a drink. He's probably the only one in our party who can actually maybe legally drink. At least in America. And like in America, you have to be 21 to drink alcohol. You know, some countries are have a lesser drinking age. So, where'd Galuf go? But yeah, the typical Japanese role-playing game, like the main characters like tend to be like teenagers. I guess because you know the games are mainly marketed to teenagers. You know, so it helps with the I guess the role-playing, like picturing yourself doing this stuff. So now that's the stuff. Finally, a chance to try the famed Regole brew. Kind of burns a path down your throat. Oh, Whiskers, what's up? Couldn't sleep. Come on, pull up a chair. Dunk, right across from him. Galuf, I'm sorry, if we hadn't butted in, you'd have been able to get into Extet's castle. Nah, even if we had gone in, the barrier would have destroyed us. I hadn't the slightest inkling it'd been finished. Yeah, that barrier is going to be really, really important. We're going to have a side quest much later to, well, it's not a side quest, but it's going to be a mission much later for us to take down that barrier. Because right now, with that barrier up, we can't assault Extet's castle. And obviously, that is the goal of this world. We got to take down Extet. Whiskers, you know that once you came here, you could never return. So why'd you do it? No particular reason. Oh, there was a reason. You wanted to save the world. Whiskers. Hey, don't worry about it. You figure eventually they'd be able to recharge meteors. You know. They seem to be coming, to and from this, or from this world quite easily. I mean, there was 5 meteor strikes in our first world, so you figure they have the technology or the magic to do it. So yeah, anytime out now, if we try to stay this in, we charge us 40 gold. But, hey, we already got healed up here, so life is pretty good here, so just gonna make sure we equip, we got a few new pieces of equipment. We'll equip them up, make sure our mages have their rods, and then we're gonna head down to that castle in the south where we were told not to go. But remember, when you're told not to go somewhere in a video game, it's usually a good indication that you probably want to go there. Even if it may not be mandatory to go there, it's usually a good thing to go there to, they usually have it there for a reason. Whether it's a side quest for more lore or more like treasure or something like that. But here's the castle, and like that guy said, though, there is a tough enemy in there, so it won't count on that next time. So see you then, minions. Bye!